Share on Facebook. What happens if you are a rioter, assist in starting fires during riotous protests, then interfere with emergency crews trying to extinguish the blaze by pulling out a knife and cutting firefighters' hose? Well, if you're a liberal rioter, and they all are, in a city like Baltimore that's run by liberals, 14-member city council is made up of 14 Democrats, what happens to you is basically nothing. Law enforcement reporting site Blue Lives Matter is telling the story of Greg Butler, your typical mask-wearing, millennial, crybaby, I'm protesting something but don't know what wannabe who showed up at 2015 Baltimore protests turned riot in the wake of the Freddie Gray death wherein people showed up to demonstrate against police brutality then decided it would be a good idea to loot, destroy and burn their own city. Butler was caught. Twice. And what happened to him in Baltimore's criminal justice system was, well, read for yourself. A man who was front and center during the Baltimore rioting in 2015, and punctured a fire hose, has once again received leniency, and will not have to serve time for probation violations. Greg Butler, now 23, showed up wearing a gas mask and riding a bicycle at rioting in the city's Penn North neighborhood on April 27, 2015. Firefighters were battling an out-of-control blaze started by rioters at a CVS pharmacy when Butler first stepped on a fire hose, then cut it twice with a serrated knife. He was indicted in December 2015 but wasn't sentenced until November 2016. Butler pled guilty to obstructing firefighters during a civil disorder, and was sentenced to 3 years of supervised release, probation, with 1 year in prison that was suspended. That means if he violated probation he should automatically have to go to prison for a year. He did not abide by all of the rules set for his probation, and committed violations including positive drug tests for marijuana and PCP, and failure to pay $100 per month in restitution. At a hearing on Tuesday, September 5, federal prosecutors asked for his suspended 1-year prison term to be activated. Federal prison terms are different than state prison terms because there is no probation or early release from a person's sentence. The entire sentence for a federal conviction has to be served. Butler came to court on Tuesday and asked U.S. District Judge J. Frederick Mott not to give him active time. He asked Judge Mott for leniency because he has a 14-month-old son and another child on the way. He continued with excuses for his behavior, and said that although he was working for his uncle's contracting business, that he couldn't pay his restitution. He also said that he used drinking and marijuana as a way to escape life's problems, that his mother was a heroin addict, and his father was a functioning alcoholic. Judge Mott ignored Butler's initial sentence and did not allow the federal prosecutor's request, and instead gave Butler 3 additional years of probation. He also ordered him to enter an inpatient drug treatment program, and told Butler that if he violated his probation again, then he would be sentenced to prison. So, to recap, he was sentenced to probation under the condition that if he violated probation he'd be sent to prison. He violated probation but instead of going to jail the judge sentenced him to more probation. The reason he uses drugs is to help him cope, and it's not his fault anyway because his mom and dad are junkies, too. He hasn't paid the restitution he was ordered to pay, presumably to cover the costs of the taxpayers' fire hose that he wrecked, because, well, he just didn't. And for all of this, a judge has given him more probation but with the warning that if he violates it this time, he means it, he's going to jail. The phrase "the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior" comes to mind. Share on Facebook.